You're listening to Health Professional Radio. My name is Wayne Bucklar, and today my guest is David Pope, Director of Clinical Edge. Hello to you, David, and welcome to Health Professional Radio.
G'day, Wayne. How you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, David, Clinical Edge is one of those business names that doesn't give a lot away. Can you explain to us what Clinical Edge does?
Sure, yeah, definitely. So Clinical Edge is a company that we set up originally to provide education for physiotherapists. So it kicked off with face-to-face courses for physios in Australia, and then we've expanded that over the last couple of years to include online education for physiotherapists and sports medicine practitioners in Australia and globally. So that's our main focus. We sort of focus on the practitioners that are working mostly in sports medicine, but just with general musculoskeletal injuries, whether it's ankle injuries, foot injuries, shoulder injuries, that sort of stuff, and then take them through how to, assess those, treat them, that sort of thing. So that's our main focus.
So geographically, there's no particular footprint for you?
We have a large base within Australia, but we have quite a lot of sort of global customers as well. So New Zealand is probably our second largest customer base, and then the UK and the US after that. So recently I've started running webinars for Physio New Zealand members. So we actually put that on, like I said, joint collaboration between one of the branches of Physio New Zealand and so we're sort of expanding in New Zealand and, reaching out, sort of helping physios over there. And then I put out a podcast as well. So I interview people from all over the world. So one of the most recent ones are from the UK, and we interview people from Denmark and Australia and New Zealand. And they tend to go out pretty globally. We get, around sort of 20 to 30,000 listeners for each of those, in all sorts of countries from Australia right through to Yemen and Israel and all sorts of places where they download them. So, so that's really fun and exciting to get, information out to those sort of places. So, yeah.
So the world's become a very small oyster in your case, given the capacity of the internet and the ability to get content pretty much anywhere where there's connectivity.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the great things. Like, no matter where people are, if they're in India or, Israel or wherever it might be, they can just, jump on and download podcasts or watch online or, watch the videos online, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, such an easier way to get educated than what it used to be for us when I came out of uni as a physio, and I pretty much had to rock up at a conference or a course and travel and get there to, be able to be educated. So that was, one of my main goals, was to try and make it as accessible as I can for, health professionals all over the place, so that they can just, log on whenever they have, half an hour in between patients, or they've got, a weekend or an afternoon where they just go, I'd love to find out about, get educated on a certain area, and they don't have to travel anywhere. So that's sort of my main goal, to help, improve the way that we all provide, treatment for our patients and make it really easy for people to access. So that's been my motivation as we go through it.
Now, David, are you the primary source of expertise for your training, or do you bring other experts to bear?
Yeah, good question. I provide some of the training, so some of the videos on special interest areas of mine, which are around cycling and mountain biking and martial arts. So they're sort of, and swimming as well. They're sort of like a lot of the patient populations that I treat. So they're sort of my special interest areas. So I'll often do education around those sort of areas, but they're fairly niche. And so because the body's, there's so much that people can patients can come in with, whether it's a neck injury or shoulder pain or whatever. I get all sorts of experts from all over the world to present videos and podcasts, that sort of thing. So with the videos, for instance, like we've had the Wallabies physio, he's presented on a bunch of different topics, including like shoulder, the AC joint injuries, hamstring injuries, that sort of thing, and all sorts of other people that sort of specialize in particular areas, whether that's in running or tendinopathy rehab, that sort of stuff. I get those people on board. We record a presentation with them on how they go about, treating particular conditions. and then we get them to present a video. So really trying to make it so that people can get access to the experts. That's basically what we aim to do.
It does show how far out of touch I am with physiotherapy. When you talked about your specialties, I expected you to say, rotator cuffs and knees or something, and instead you said martial arts and mountain biking. It just never occurred to me that the specialisation would be in the injuries that commonly occur, or the problems that commonly occur from those activities. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, definitely. And because, like all physios, I treat a bit of everything, Yep. But you have sort of patient populations that come in and, I treated a lot of swimmers for a while. I was working out at some swimming clubs. So you tend to see, once you see a few and they refer their friends, you tend to see a whole lot more of them for different things. So pretty soon you want to learn more about that area and, often without even realizing or without an initial plan, you get more specialized in different areas. But, which is fun too, especially if you're treating an area that you like I enjoy mountain biking and martial arts. So it's always fun to treat populations that you enjoy.
You're listening to Health Professional Radio with Wayne Bucklar. My guest in conversation today is David Pope, the Director of Clinical Edge, a firm we could describe as physiotherapy education, I guess, or education for physiotherapists, to be more correct. David, in spreading your word from face-to-face training to online training, what have you found to be the big issues?
Yeah, good question. And I think initially it was getting people to understand that you could get, that online education was as valuable in a lot of cases as face-to-face education. So people, physiotherapists are a pretty traditional bunch, and, traditionally when you get educated, you go to uni and you go to short courses over a weekend, and, that's pretty much how you get educated. So sort of, getting that across to people that there is an easier way to get education, and that it is just as good. And for a lot of topics, that might be around, how to assess and how to treat, how to use your exercises, that sort of thing. The internet or watching a video is just as good as a face-to-face, lesson. There are, areas obviously that lend themselves more specifically where you hands-on skills, and you might have to learn how to move someone's, joints in their neck around, that sort of stuff, that are more suited to face-to-face. But for a lot of it, it is really suited to either audio or video, that sort of stuff. So I think probably just, getting the awareness that it is a great way to get education out there is probably, initially was our biggest challenge. And, but I think that's, people are really taking it on board now, that how easy it is to get educated. So that's been good.
Yeah, it's one of those phenomena, and I describe sometimes the health industry as being the last great cottage industry, because it really is, a large number of individual practitioners running their own kind of micro businesses that come together to form a system. And it's difficult to get reform in those organisations and difficult to get change in those organisations because there are so many individual players who see their practice as being their domain and their right to do it that way. And that's why I call it the last great cottage industry. But it is interesting that while change is slow, one of the things that the health profession seems to be embracing dramatically is information technology, and particularly internet technology to link together stuff. Have you found that there's an increasing, not preference perhaps, but acceptance of internet communications as a tool?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially over the last few years, it's really taken off. I think you get more people that are involved in social media, even that start to spread the word about, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook, that sort of stuff, about, different resources that they've come across that are online. And I think definitely there's a lot more acceptance out there. And we've been building towards, we're running our first virtual conferences. So we're actually getting, experts from all over the world. So we've got one happening in September on, shoulder pain, where we've got experts from, Belgium, from the UK, and from all over the world presenting for a shoulder conference that we're running virtually. So we've got lots of excitement. There's lots of people that are really keen to get on board that. So I think it's been nice to see that people are progressing, getting used to the IT age, and are happy to come on board. And Yeah, so that's been good. And, you know, coming back to your point too about the cottage industry too, I think that's a good, definitely that's been traditionally in health, you know, people have been feeling like either they're in competition with other people or other practitioners or whatever. But I think I've noticed too over the last few years that there has been more of a, people feel like they're more of a combined effort where they're happier to share their sort of knowledge with other practitioners to try and build the whole, you know, knowledge base within the health industry. And I think that's been really nice to see as well over the last few years, particularly.
Now, if you've just joined us, I've been in conversation with David Pope, the Director of Clinical Edge, a online training provider and face-to-face training provider for physiotherapists. Now, David, I guess your website's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got two websites, the podcasts, which are all free. So they're the interviews with all sorts of different people, and that's at physioedge.com.au. And then we've got our online training, and the face-to-face courses. They're at clinicaledge.com.au. So that's probably the best place to find us on those places. I'm on Twitter and I'm at David K. Pope. And if people are interested, I've put together a one-page cheat sheet for chronic pain. So particularly for your show, for listeners, if they want to come and download 10 tips on approaching chronic or persistent pain, I've put together a page with a download you can get there, and that's at physioedge.com.au/HPR. So yeah, you can just go there if you're interested, have a look at that. And if you want to download the 10 tips for chronic pain, your listeners are more than welcome for that.
Everyone loves a freebie, David. Everyone loves a freebie.
Yeah, definitely.
You've been listening to Wayne Bucklar on Health Professional Radio. We'll have a transcript of this interview on our website and also an audio archive of it at www.hpr.fm. My guest this morning, David Pope from Clinical Edge. Thank you very much for joining us, David.
Thanks for having me on the program, Wayne.
It's been a pleasure. My name is Wayne Bucklar. You're listening to Health Professional Radio. Professional Radio.